Yo,
All right, all right. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
good
What's going
morning.
on with you, young man? How you doing today?
Super fragilistic, man.
I have no idea what that means. Why don't you elaborate?
I'm wonderful. It's Christmas Eve. Uh, my in-laws made it in town safely. Despite the winter storm that we got going on, and everything is wonderful right now. And I'll be seeing my parents and my sister tomorrow morning.
All right, good, good, good. First and foremost, all I want to know is if you look outside, the looks can be very deceiving. See, because what you see
It's
is
sunlight.
sun,
Mm-hmm.
but what you feel is Lakeshore Drive. So all I want to know is that who had the bright idea to bring the Arctic Blast to Central Florida? Because whoever did, let them know
They need
April
to get
1st
out.
and for a couple of months.
Good morning, Shakita. Good
Good
morning.
morning. Good morning. All right. So first and foremost, let us let people know what this is. This is the Extraordinary Man Morning Show, Saturday edition, weekend edition. We want to go ahead and just come and kick it and spend a little time with you guys as content creators. We are taking what we do very serious, and we are going to start revving up in our content creation. So anybody who is tuning in with us, we thank you for taking your time out because you could be anywhere in the world, but you decided to spend a little bit of your time with us, and we humbly thank you. I would ask you if you have not subscribed to the channel already at some point in time, if that is something that you would like to do, I'm going to post the link in the chat, and by all means, feel free to click it, and we will greatly appreciate it. So,
Yeah,
Mike,
we are looking to hit 1,000 subscribers. We are on a 30-day run, and like, share, subscribe, and any share, any like, any click the bell, anything is appreciated.
all right. So, one of the most important things that I think that we can get across at this point in time is just helping people to understand what exactly it is that we do. What exactly is the Extraordinary Man? What is our aim? What is our goal? What have we been trying to accomplish since we started this thing?
So, Extraordinary Man is a platform or space where men can finally have a voice, where we can voice opinions, talk about stresses, um, a space where you can come and get help tips, whether it be mental health, whether it be help with your business, help with your credit, help with your finances. All of that is embedded here. This is the Manosphere. This is our men empowerment platform right here.
Now, let me just put this disclaimer out here that just because it is for men does not mean that it's anti-woman. Women are always valued in our community, and by all means, we encourage you guys to tune in, get an opportunity to hear thoughts that come from various types of men. It's not just us. We speak on behalf of our membership and the people who are a part of this organization. And as it starts to grow, we will continue to start sharing content and things pertaining to these things. So it's Christmas Eve. First and foremost, all I want to know is what are you guys cooking? I'm down here in Florida. I'm by myself, and I still plan on slamming down on something. So I
Hmm.
need to know, what are you guys cooking? What's in the kitchen, man? What's in the kitchen, man?
Man, so normally, we would deep fry turkey, ham, the mac and cheese, the yams, the greens. I mean, it's pretty much Thanksgiving all over again down here. So this year we actually thinking about doing little Cornish hens, like personal Cornish hens for everybody, ham and all that good jazz. So that's what's in the kitchen, man. And then
All right.
mom making her famous punch.
All I'm about to say is that let me see if I can catch that Blizzard flight up there. Come and grab me a plate. Say I'm non-traditional, so I'm only making curry stewed chicken.
That
All
sounds
I need you
fire.
to do is
That sounds
freeze.
fire.
All I need you to do is freeze me a bowl of that, right?
Yes, sir.
and mail it down here in some dried ice to make sure that it stays preserved for the trip. And you will make it to the top of my Christmas list for next
I
year.
ain't never had it. That sounds fire.
Curry stewed chicken.
I ain't never had it. That sounds fire, dude.
Hey, look, all I want to know is what's on the menu. What are the plates? What are we eating for Christmas? Because obviously Christmas is one of the few times that we can all get together with family and friends outside of Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving or whatever. I need to know what's in the kitchen. So we got curry stewed chicken. My stomach is already rumbling. Let me tell you, it's already going crazy for that. Shakita, me and you gonna have a conversation one of these days. I need that recipe.
Mhm.
So let me tell y'all something. It is about 32 degrees down here in Florida. The
Man,
last
look.
time it was 32 degrees in Florida, I didn't live here. I don't think I was alive last time it was 32 degrees down here. So thank you to whoever was hating on us and brought this cold spin down here. We do not want it. We will pack it up and give it back to Chicago where it belongs any day.
Man, look. So last night was -3. -3. And right now, at 10:16 a.m., it is a whopping 4 degrees.
Heat wave.
It's a heat wave right now.
Man, like standing right in front of the oven type of heat wave. Say it don't belong to us. Hey, listen, this weather is for the streets. Literally. So, Midas, let me ask you something, right? Obviously, for the last year and change that we've been doing these talks, these conversations, I think that one of the most important things that we've been able to come up with is the fact that there is a need for men to be able to have an opportunity to speak their piece. I think that from what evidence has shown is that there is a value not just for the men who need an opportunity to be able to speak their piece, but also for women who need to hear a man's perspective. What do you think that from the experiences that we've had so far, what do you think there's been one of the most rewarding concepts, one of the most rewarding times that something that we've shared has not only carried over to help somebody, help a man, so to speak, but also to help women as well?
I think that one of to me one of the greatest benefits or rewards uh, to me that I think we got out of it so far is our brother Anthony. He's back in school. He's working 2 jobs. He's getting his credit together. He actually sent me his business plan for me to review it and go over it and help him, get the wording and everything in there correctly. Take this out, add this in, to be able to present that to investors so that he can get his business up and running. So, kudos to him. Shout out to him for utilizing this platform and the tools that he has at his disposal. All of the other minds in here to help him try to push himself along and build himself up. And he's doing that. Um, as far as relationships with women, I think that what it has done is be able to uh, turn great men into extraordinary men and to be able to really thoroughly understand how to, I guess, speak amongst one another. Um, know when it's time to be hard and when it's time to be soft. Uh, having a greater ability to be able to compromise. Because I think today, like we're pushed into this mental state of that we have to be just so aggressive and so masculine that I think we need to be able to turn that down just a tiny bit so that we can understand where our women is coming from as well. And I think that we've done that too.
I think one of the things that over the course of the year that I learned is that finding peaceful resolutions rather than
Yeah.
always finding the need to be right. I think on both sides of the coin, but there are certain things that I've learned from listening to some of you guys' stories that help me to understand that I don't always have to present myself as the tough figure. I don't always have to be, that concept of in the house that the man gets the final say. Certain things that we have known to be true or that we hold to be true, in some cases they do matter. And in other cases, we as a society have grown a little bit further away from the way that
Yeah.
those old rules have been. And I've come to the understanding that it's like you can be a leader, but one thing, like if you're a manager at work, right? You don't deal with the physical day-to-day part of it. So you lean on the people who actually do the work every day. So because of that, you learn how to motivate rather than
Hmm.
learning how to do. You don't have the expertise to do every single thing. And you shouldn't have to. That's not the reason why you're managing. If you have to do it yourself, then nobody really needs the management, right? So in a household, if you think about that, when you're dealing with women, you're dealing with children, sometimes you have to understand that the more successful you are at helping people tap into their gifts, helping them tap into what they are great at, the better it reflects on you.
Absolutely. And I think one piece of advice that you've given me and that I've actually translated into my life, and it actually worked out in a conversation that I had with my wife last night, is do you need to be right, or do you want to be right, or do you want peace? And I think that's a very powerful piece of advice for all men to utilize, because it will be situations to where you just got to take the high road to get and taking a high road, you know what I'm saying, does get you the results that you're looking for. Being aggressive and getting out of pocket, things of that nature, that's not how you get your point across, especially if you want somebody to really understand you and pay attention to what you're trying to say.
And with that being said, this is something that translates over multiple things, whether business relationships, monogamous relationships, or otherwise, friendships, partnerships, whatever the circumstances may be, is the fact that the road that leads to compromise is never an L.
Hmm.
You may have to give something to get something, but it's never a loss when everybody benefits. When everybody wins, it's never a loss. And I think that that's something that I would always encourage people to look at on a grand scale, is that what do you want to accomplish? Is that if I want to get my way, be alone, operate as an individual on your own time. But
Hmm.
when you're trying to build stuff with other people, you have to understand that even if you have great ideas, you're not the only one with great ideas. You're not the only one with, and I think that that's not something that we really have a problem acknowledging. I think a lot of times it's who gets to go first, who takes the lead, what does the lead look like. The lead doesn't always mean that everything that I think goes primary. Sometimes the lead may be I facilitate. Sometimes where there's disorganization or disarray, taking the lead might say, okay, let's structure this. You go first, you go second, you go third, you go fourth. Okay, what are y'all plans? Take notes. Okay, by show of hands, who thinks that, or just any type of creation of structure and implementation of structure that gets to a result to where action can follow.
Yeah.
I like recording on the mornings. My brain seems to be a lot more fresh than it is in the evening. I'll tell you that. So first and foremost, if you sit here and you look at the different types of people that we've met outside of the immediate circle of people that we started with, we've gotten a chance to be introduced to people from all over. And what would you say is one of the most rewarding things over the past year that you learned from meeting different people through the clubhouse space and through various other platforms?
I think that being introduced to, and I don't even like to call them different people. I just like to call it different experiences and walks of life. And
Mhm.
I've gained a lot of insight of how people have done things differently, how they approach problems with different resolutions, and how they resolve issues and things of that nature. And it's been a lot of tips and enlightenment that I've gained from individuals over this. We've been operating for a year and 4 months now.
August
Uh,
28th of 2021.
So yeah, I've gained a lot of insight that I use not only in my life but in my business as well, and I've been able to acquire new heights in my life and business because of it. So I've definitely gained and learned a lot.
See, I've learned Mike likes really likes neon color. Yes, I do like neon colors. I do.
That
Yes,
Phil Jones.
I absolutely love bright colors. I love them. They match my Florida persona. Not necessarily the current Florida weather, but neither here nor there.
Mhm.
But to match you on top of that, one thing I could definitely say for sure is that the experience that I've gained is invaluable when it comes down to even people who I've not directly met, but just learning from different experiences. Like there's a gentleman that's in the chat, Mr. Leon Orange. He had commented earlier. Let me tell you, this is one of the most creative people I've ever seen. And to my fellow Midwesterner, right out of Milwaukee, not necessarily the biggest Green Bay fan myself, but Chicago pride. But at the end of the day, it's like when you see people who they are so in love with what they do that you automatically feel inspired when you see how easy it gets for them. But because of the fact that they are craftsmen at what they do, they hone in on these crafts over and over and over again to where it looks amazing every time. But really and truly, it's just practice. It's just practice and practice. And you never get a chance to see the behind the scenes. So with everything that we did from the clubhouse space and from members coming and going and trying to fine tune and build things as we did, for it to get to a place where we start bringing this platform into play, it's a year and change of progress that people get a chance to see of meetings of the mind and meetings of different people, as you say, walks of life to try to discuss different things that I didn't know that I wasn't the only one that was dealing with this. I didn't know that depression amongst men was so common. I can read
Mhm.
the stats, but it's a difference when you actually hearing the stories. When you're hearing the men talk about their experiences, how they had to bottle them in and suppress them and not be able to release them more. We're in financial trouble, but we don't want to look weak to our women. So we hide it and bottle it up. And how many of us hide behind alcohol and other vices to avoid dealing with the real world repercussions that come along with either A, not being responsible, or B, just not having the answers and being thirsty. So now let me ask you this. If you could look at any one thing that you have learned as far as probably not even just last year, like as far as we were talking about mentorship not too long ago and rich dads and stuff like that in your own terminology. If you could
Mhm.
share anything with a young man right now that's trying to find his way, what would be one of the first things that you would say to that person?
First thing is, and I think we spoke about this also during that same episode, was you got to find your why as to why you're doing what you're doing. Why is this the thing that you need to do? That's the first thing. And coming to an understanding as to why it even needs to be done. Second thing is you need to figure out what problem is this why solving. After that, your normal, LLCs and things of that nature. But then you need to find somebody that is like in this particular lane or in this particular outfit that you're trying to put on, and see if you can get under them and see the ins and outs, the inner workings of how what you're trying to build works, because I'm pretty sure that there's somebody out there that has already built and established what you're trying to do. And to breeze past 10, 20 years of trying to build this from scratch from the bottom up, go to somebody that's already done it, and now you could shave off 10, 20 years of trying to build your business, You know what type of pitfalls are involved because they can tell you because they've been through it. So I think the accelerated route is what I'm trying to say. That would be my best advice. Is you have to find somebody that has already done it and built it and is willing to mentor you, protege you.
Along with that, I think that there's a perseverance and weathering the storm is also one of the most important things, because before people who have already taken the time and cultivated that skill or that craft will look at you and take you serious, they have to see, you have to be able to show your work. And I think a lot of times what happens is the fact that many of us get fatigued in the process. And I could use me and my education as a catalyst. First and foremost, let me put this out here to anybody. Like, you're never too old to go back to school. I'm almost done with my BA in business, and I could not be more happier.
Yeah, I just spoke about you kind of towards the beginning of this about how, saying you working and school and you sent me your business plan and all that, Ant. So yeah, you definitely got high praises in here.
In that regard, it's like when you sit here and you look at what it takes, first and foremost, to fix your mind on the fact that to get to that place to where it's like, I don't have an option but to succeed. I cannot drop the ball. I look at myself at 36 years old, and it's like I had to get past that mental block of making myself think that I was too old to do something. Then it literally took me looking at my daughter coming in age to where it's like, wow, she's becoming a young woman right before my very eyes. What do you have established for her? How much money do you have put away? What resources have you cultivated to be able to give her a better introduction to adulthood than you had? So when I started going through this in my head, I started looking at my timetable and saying, okay, well, here's what I did over the course of 18 when I graduated up until age 33, 34, whenever it finally clicked in my head. So I've literally jumped exponentially from where I was 2 to 3 years ago, just in mindset alone. And how I see that the change in mindset started to bear fruit in my finances, started to bear fruit in my credit, started to bear fruit in my overall relationships, and just taking things serious and saying, you know what? The fear that I have of how I will be perceived doing stuff is not as great as the fear of going down in history as the person who almost made it but never did. I almost graduated. I almost had that YouTube channel. I almost succeeded at something that I did. I almost made it to the finish line my whole life. It's like no great person in history do you remember, or are they ever regarded for almost?
Yeah, no one ever remembers second place. You just don't.
Let alone the person that never actually finishes the race in the first place. The person who gave up down there, down the line, who fatigued out and couldn't find the energy or find the resilience to continue forward. Nobody remembers that person. And I had to look at it for myself and say, I don't want to be that person. And I don't want for my children to look at me and say, this is the standard. I mean, unfortunately, it's just one of those things to where you have to have a really introspective look at self to be able to identify: is this the best that you can do? Is have I capped out at my intellectual capabilities as the Macy's cashier? Is that all that I have? And you have to really think about it. Like, there's people who they come from all over the world who come to this very place that you live every single day, and somehow they figure it out. Whether there's assistance behind the scenes or whatever the circumstances may be, is that my excuse or is that my motivation? How do you perceive it? So let me ask you this, and I just want to go a little left field. When you look at everything that you had to go through to start your company, for anybody who doesn't know that, my brother here is a, well, you describe it, 'cause I don't want to misquote it as far as what your company is.
All right, so the owner of Nerdy Nerds, it's a IT contract fulfillment company, and basically what we do is we fulfill contracts such as uh, drive-through system installations for like Dunkin' Donuts, Portillo's, things of that nature, security camera installs, Walmart, Targets, things of that nature. So we fulfill a lot of contracts. And right now we have a big contract with the city of Waukegan, which is northern Illinois, swapping out all the fire panels throughout various businesses throughout the city of Waukegan because they're switching over their provider.
So when I look at that and I see that, when your company first started, what was it?
It was a kind of like a cell phone game console repair type company, PC repair, things of that nature. And then it expanded into doing custom built gaming PCs. And then it expanded into doing security cameras. Then it expanded into doing satellite installations and cable runs, and you you pretty much then it expanded into doing like LED panels. So I don't even do like cell phones and game consoles and all that no more. I strictly do uh LCD mounting, TV mounting, drive through systems, fire panels, you name it, like way bigger projects now. But we started in cell phone repair and game console repair.
So I want anybody that's listening to this, I want them to think about that. And the point that I'm going with this is the fact that when you get in motion, you may have a vision, and that vision may take you down a road. And once you get down that road, what you thought it was going to be initially can easily start going down a path that's going to lead you to where your real purpose is. Where you start is not always where you finish, but you have to be able to go the distance. And sometimes it's hard. There's bumps in the road. There's relationship alterations. There are all types of different things. The money get funny sometimes,
Hmm.
but these are things that you learn about who you are. You find out who you are on the journey. You don't find at the beginning. You don't find it at the end. You find out during the journey as you start to move. This is when you start to really figure out who you are, what you are, who the right people are that are in your life, who's pouring into you, who's taking away from you, who's sucking energy away from you. Is this girl the right fit for me? Is this guy the right fit for me? You start to learn every aspect of yourself while you're in motion moving somewhere. People who are stagnant, who are over here one day, over here the next day, you never find out anything about yourself other than the fact that you're inconsistent. So I definitely got to
Yeah.
say that when I have to look at your story over what you've done over the course of the last decade plus with your company and your journey, and anybody who has done anything professionally over time, you know that industries change. So from what was once the standard 5 years ago, that standard is not the same anymore. If you're in
Right.
pharmaceutical, if you're in medical, you constantly have to take refreshers. I think like every 2 years, or depending, like I can't speak for what they do, but there's always refresher training because there's always new information. So you're never going to be stuck with the last information that you had when you first got your degree. Wherever there's new information, you're always going to do it. Like Rodman, him in his physical therapy, he has to recertify every 2 years with his physical therapy, and then he has to take new classes to show different aspects of the physical therapy components. So he's constantly got to learn something new and constantly has to add something new to his portfolio, as well as be updated on what the newest techniques are.
I think that's very important to understand because I had no idea that I was gonna get into mountain TVs. I had no idea that I was gonna You don't see these things. You just got to let it be fluid. And I think what really helps people, and this is a tip, what's really going to help you be successful is the fact that you have to recognize, like you said, what was good over here at one point in time, what was winning, what was the bread. The cheese moved. So now you got to go over here. And I had this conversation a while ago with one of my uncles, and I was, saying, kind of letting him know, like, there really ain't, at least to me, I don't see the money in that anymore, because people are over here doing this now. If you were buying like solid marble slabs, ain't really the thing anymore. People are doing what's called composite like stuff, where they just pour it on and then they mix it and all that, and they
Mhm.
can just take regular wood and turn it into, like, that's what the money at now, because that now opened the door for a bigger market of people to be able to get in and purchase to make their homes look a lot better. The cheese move, and you need to go over there and to go do that. And I think you need to be fluid, and you need to understand that you in order for you to be successful, continue to grow, is you got to be open to new ideas and new concepts.
And let me tell you, I'm one of the biggest dinosaurs in the world. When it comes down to editing, me and him just had a whole debacle last night about trying to change up my editing software. I've been using Adobe Premiere since 2014. It's all I want to know versus all that I know. There's other things that I can do, but that's my weapon of choice. But there are other options. Just like, for those in the music world, Pro Tools was the industry standard at one point in time, is what everybody felt like they had to have. But there are so many different options that you can use that it's just like it's not really that necessary, and it's a lot more cumbersome to use than, say, I'm not gonna bore you with the details. Inbox me if you want to know. But as far as that's concerned, one thing that I definitely want to try to chime in on, and it's like I really think that there's something that is to be said about what you said about people who did it before you. When you don't really have parents or people in your community who have been successful, for somebody who feels that they have more potential than what is around them, but they don't know where to go to try to tap into those resources. Big city, small town, whatever have you. What advice would you give as far as where people can go to start trying to figure out where the like-minded thinkers are, or where the information that will unlock their potential? Where can they find it? What should they go?
Well, the for starters, the fact that you already have that mindset embedded in you, that I want more. I can get more. I believe that I deserve more. Things of that nature. The fact that you already have that mindset embedded in you, you winning already. From there to you got to know what it is that you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. So if you are trying to build a business, you need to find out where you can meet these particular people that are involved in that particular line of work. So I mean, you got free access to a lot these days. So you have your Facebook. There's a billion groups that you can go to try to find some information and try to talk to people. You got YouTube University. Uh, you got Clubhouse. I mean, you have a platform such as the Extraordinary Men, where you can start getting involved and understanding what it is that you need to do or where you want to go. Uh, we have all different type of entrepreneurs within our own community here at the Extraordinary Men. You got meetup.com. It used to be called meetup.org, but it's meetup.com now, where it is a whole entire platform that is built specifically on just groups, where you can go meet individuals within a specific niche that you're trying to get involved with. So if you're trying to get into software development, where they have tons of groups in there where you can get involved with people and meet up with people that are dealing with software development. If you want to run a laundromat, they have groups in there where you can meet up with people that's interested in starting a laundromat. You might even meet a business partner in there. But there's lots of avenues today. There's lots of avenues, free avenues at that, where you can go and get this information that you're trying to see.
Even if you're trying to do something that's more fulfilling and less about the money, like learning the new language, or even
It's all there.
it's all that. Like for instance, platform. What's that platform? Coursera. They
Coursera,
actually,
yep.
yeah, they actually have classes that come from that have been tailored and created, crafted directly out of reputable universities, including the Ivy League universities, that you can take, and it's all free. It's all
Hmm.
available to you.
Skillshare. You got, yeah, Coursera, Skillshare, and then there's another one that's similar to it too, where you can people post tutorials and they post their own tutorials and their own lesson plans and all that. I'll find out what that website is, but dude, like there's a million and one free content out there for you to achieve the goal that you're trying to reach.
And also for those who are much like myself or the version of me that it used to be, I'm going to give you some of the best advice that was ever given to me. You can do it the cheap way and inch your way through, or invest in yourself, because time itself is the greatest investment that you have. It's the only thing you can't get back. I can spend as much money as I want, work as hard as I can, and get everything that I had back sevenfold. The one thing that I can never get back, was my most valuable resource, is time. So the time that you spend at your job is time that you're not spending with your children. Time that you're spending trying to work and go to school in your older years is time that if you were taking advantage of younger, that you might have had more time to spend with your children later on in life. We don't necessarily think about this. So we start having conversations with people that's younger than us, that are younger generation than us. These are things that I think that are very important that we should start asking ourselves, or that we should start passing that information on to everybody, saying, hey, no matter what you do, don't waste time. So, brief intermission. Jose, Irvin, Anthony, everybody that's in this chat, thank you so much for spending this time with us. Obviously, it's December 24th. It's Christmas Eve. You could be doing anything under the sun, but you took time out to come spend it with us. We are eternally grateful. Anthony, next time we get a free opportunity for you to get in here and start talking about some of your experiences, please just get in here, just jump in at any point in time. Um, Again, thank you guys for being able to spend this time with us as we get prepared to spend this joyous occasion with family and friends and loved ones. We definitely appreciate the fact that you took time to click on a little link and see what the little moving heads had to say. So, Mike, let me ask you this. And I really want you to think before you answer this. What was the last thing that you regretted not doing, that you think about all the time?
Uh, I think on a personal level, not reaching out to you sooner, uh, to get everything rectified and resolved. That's that's like a real major one. We talking 10 years that was missed. Um, that's kind of like the big one that's like sitting right at the top of my head right now.
And then you mentioning that pride and ego sometimes is the biggest Achilles heel that I've ever seen men deal with. Having too much pride to apologize or to admit that you're wrong, or to even acknowledge the fact that you may not be completely wrong, but you may have some fault. And just taking the time to say, you know what, here's what I did, and I'm sorry for that. I don't think that we realize how many relationships get severed for unnecessary reasons, because of the people that's around us, because of the cloud and smoke that's around us, or because of the fact that we don't ask questions. We don't use deductive reasoning to put two and two together to say, you know what? Hey, let me talk to you. So when you start thinking about that thing, that time, how much time is gone, how much time you don't get back, what has changed. The most important thing that you can do is that once you realize those things, you start focusing and honing in on how you start to build from that moment. How do you start to create the most quality moments that you can? How do you really show yourself growth and give yourself the appreciation for that growth? Because everybody won't recognize it. But as long as you do, and as long as you're doing what's necessary to say, this is who I was and this is who I refuse to be again, that's what matters the absolute most, in my opinion. Because when I had to sit back and bite that same bullet, the relief that I felt was like, you're a real jerk.
Mm.
And again, this is me talking to myself. So when it comes down to it, it's just like you have no idea how important relationships are to you, and how sometimes I'm gonna ask anybody that's in the chat, anybody that's listening to this before or after, just ask yourself, when was the last time, or how many people do you know that they've been feuding, or you've been feuding, or holding on to a grudge, anything for so long that you forgot what it was originally about? Or when you came to realization what it was really about, it seems so small now that it was just like, really? That was it? That's what this was. I tell you, there's something about being proud, but living in your pride, man, it will destroy you. It will destroy great things around you. Being too proud to ask for help when you're down. Being too proud to say I'm sorry. Being too proud to acknowledge the fact that I don't have all the answers. So it's a killer. But it sounds like them little
It eat
people.
at you.
Sound like them little people around moving around.
Yeah, that having that, like it really does eat at you.
You know, one thing that I could ever say, or one thing that I would like to say, and I encourage anybody and everybody to start looking at, and the reason why we decided to come together and form a group that was about men, things that go on in the lives of men, men's issues, mental health, finance, whatever have you, is because of the fact that there does not appear to be enough places to talk about these things that we deal with, and to talk about them. Sometimes when you hear it from a very archaic point of view. The type of man that you are is the type of man that you choose to be. However, you also have the choice to be a better version of yourself. What
An
avenue,
extraordinary version of yourself.
whatever avenue that you choose to take, there's a beginner level and there's an advanced level. So when I look at my capabilities and what I'm able to do, I like the concept of saying I want to be the best version of that. I don't want to be something else. I like who I am, but I know I can be better. So now, one of these days, because obviously this is a brand new concept that we're doing, and every Saturday, for those who don't know, every Saturday, 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be going live every single Saturday from here on out. Um, I want to make sure that we keep the conversation, the flow of things going. And again, as much as we appreciate everybody chiming in and being able to come through, your comments, your thoughts, they matter. So I definitely would like to know more about what you guys think. If you guys have any opinions or thoughts on the content or what it is that we're discussing today, tomorrow, whatever have you, feel free to reach out. We have a group on the Facebook platform called The
Hmm.
Extraordinary Men. You can look it up at any point in time. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and I'll drop the link in the chat for anybody that's seeing it.
Yeah, any info would be appreciated. Feedback would be appreciated because this platform isn't just for me and Mike Jones there, my brother, my older brother. Uh, it's for all men. So your input is extremely, extraordinarily valuable. as to how you can help us grow this thing to benefit you.
So, what was that quote that we were talking about earlier that we were going to share?
Um, whether whether you think you can or whether you believe you can or believe you can't, either way, you're right. Henry Ford.
Expand on that quote. Tell me what that means.
It means that whatever thought process that you have in your mind, if you believe that you can take down Mike Tyson, you're right. If you believe that you can't, you're right. Either way, you are right. And whatever your thought process is, whatever your belief in yourself is, whatever is running through your mind, whatever it is, you are right. If you believe that you can get on the Forbes list, you are right. If you believe you can't, you are right. You are the only person that controls that destiny.
You know, one of the things that I used to do a lot is that I used to curse my finances a lot. And no, the terminology I know, depending on how you hear it, but I used to always walk around talking about what I couldn't afford, what I couldn't do. Walk around talking about how expensive things were, and I didn't realize that in in the church world they say a term called life and death is spoken through the tongue. That you can easily talk yourself out of something rather than transposing that thing and saying, "What can I do to afford this expensive thing?" You've already told yourself that that expensive. First off, you've convinced yourself that it was expensive,
Right.
overpriced, expensive. These terms are very much relative, and having access to the finances necessary to be able to purchase said thing dictates the mindset of how you feel about things oftentimes. So I might say to somebody, hey, going to go buy an outfit for $200 is frivolous. Well, depending on what my finances are and how long I've been financially in that position, will probably predicate my outlook on what that item or what that outfit is. So sometimes you have to think about the fact that if you don't challenge yourself to see things from a different perspective or to see things from a different point of view or adopt the new mentality that allows you to not think so closed minded, you have to realize that you're going to always stay there. And sometimes you're going to lock yourself out of some really good opportunities because that skepticism that you developed won't allow you to see opportunity. It just makes you see everything that can go wrong.
Any more comments? Let me see.
All right, so far, I think that 48 minutes in. So again, thank you guys for tuning in with us. It is for those people who work the graveyard shift like I do. I come home from work, I got about 45 minutes of sleep and jump right on the live. That's what I consider love and dedication.
Passion, for sure. Want to
You
see
can't
this thing grow, for sure. You know,
you gotta want to see
no
things.
complaining. Just
Oh,
get up and do it.
I'm gonna complain. In my mind, I'm screaming right now. But in the real world, we gotta make things happen. You will only get out what you put in. That is a fact. You will never reap a benefit that you didn't sow anything into. I've never seen it happen. Maybe a fluke, but it's not the norm. It may be the exception, but it's definitely not the norm.
And I even like to make that even stronger as to you only deserve to get out what you put in.
That's
The
definitely a
hustle,
perspective.
the time, like you showing up, what I'm saying, for one meeting a week, what I'm saying, or complaining about how it needs to be done, things of that nature. I mean, you're only going to get out what you put in.
Now we're going to go ahead and start toward the closeout. So again, thank you guys. If you could give,
Um,
if you could give one piece of advice today, what would that piece of advice be right out the gate?
uh, buy some CarMax, and that's not, saying financial advice. It's just a suggestion. Buy some CarMax. Seriously. But I don't know. I would say I don't know, man. We talked about so much and gave so much good advice. I would just say to, I'll spend it on the holiday season, and that's, spend as much time as you can with your family, because as we stated before, that time is the most valuable asset. So definitely utilize this time to let your loved ones know that you do love them, you care about them. Let them see your face, hugs, kisses, things of that nature. And I mean, just that alone. I mean, we ain't got to worry about not being able to afford gifts and things of that nature, because just your presence alone is the gift. Them hearing you talk to them, them hearing you tell them that you love them is the greatest gift ever. So spend as much time as you can with your family and loved ones, man.
I would say do the work today so that you don't have to tomorrow. When you're young, you have the physical advantage. When you're older, you start to cultivate more of a mental advantage as your physical starts to slow down. Use your time wisely, understand how time works. You don't want to be too old, or you don't want to be too aged trying to figure it out. If you have the opportunity to do it now, network, build with others, learn how to work with others, seek counseling, rid your closet of those old demons. I mean, the list goes on, but self care and determining your self worth is one of the most valuable things that you could ever do, because you can't be anything for anybody else until you are for you. So, book, give me a book.
Well, is Rich Dad Poor Dad for sure. But another great one that I'm gonna give is Crush It by Gary Vee.
Why
Um,
what?
this book is called Crush It. What I do, and this is kind of like what we're talking about today. Whatever you do, you have to give it your all. Uh, you have to go at it. You have to crush it. If you want to be the greatest podcast, you can't be the greatest podcast without crushing it. Dropping 3, 4 videos a week, promoting it, doing your clips. Whatever you go on. If you want to be the greatest barbecue, the greatest barbecue joint, then you got to have the greatest sauce. You got to have the greatest advertisement. You got to have, crush it. Whatever you're trying to do, you got to crush it. And that's what that book is talking about: guerrilla marketing and going hard, not giving up.
The best piece of advice that I can give on the book: Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Let me tell you, chapter one enlightened me so much just by giving me notes to where the thought process that I always had that I thought was so effective was actually crippling me the whole time. I would suggest that people would get that book or read excerpts of that book and actually come to the understanding. Picking up 48 Laws of Power before you read this book, I think, will do you a disservice, because it will really help you understand how to open yourself up to comprehension prior to actually
Mhm.
looking at other forms of literature. But anyway, that's our time, guys. We have a website coming soon. The Extraordinary Man website. We'll get that posted up so you guys understand when that's available. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and close out. Any last words?
No, that's it, man. I will see you guys in the next year. Make sure that you tune in on Tuesdays. We have our live podcast on Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We now have a Friday show as well, and that is also 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And now we have our Saturday show, uh, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then every other Saturday we're gonna have a pre-recorded show. We are looking for 1,000 subscribers in the next 30 days. We are on a 30-day run, so please like, share, subscribe, and click bell. It would greatly be appreciated.
All right. So as always, thank you guys for your time and stay extraordinary, people. Enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your families, and get nice and fat. Peace.